Alright, so one of two things is happening right now. I've either got diabetes or it's because I haven't had any chocolate milk today, but I feel slightly dizzy. So we do need to get the chocolate milk in. I think that's the plan. So looking at the price action as of now, we will get onto our bias in 8 minutes time. Okay, we have a sweep of sell side, so automatically off the bat we are... Wait, actually, first of all, guys, put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me, because I don't even know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat. So maybe you lot can't even hear me anyway. You can't hear me. No ones. Okay, that's strange. Alright guys, let me know if you can hear me. Put a 1 in the chat now if you can hear me. We got 1-1. Okay, get some 1s in the chat. Let me know if you can hear me, guys. Go on. Put it in the chat. I need the majority. Not just like 1 or 2 of you, because Charlie put a 2. So that's amazing. Alright, yeah, so looking at price action today, we have a sweep of sell side. So automatically we are actually looking for longs. Simple stuff. Okay, we have a New York open high, which we'll mark out in a second, and you know that's pretty much it. We got a bullish SMT on ES. Whether that's going to stand, probably not. That's all we're looking at, and we're going to get onto our bias in around 7 minutes time. Let me just share my screen with you guys quickly so you can see this. Alright, cool. You guys should be able to see my screen all good. Let me turn that light off. Well, that's a lot better. That is a lot better. Yeah, I don't know what it is today, guys, but I feel slightly dizzy. And I think it might be because we've not had the chocolate milk. You know, maybe I've got either diabetes or a lack of chocolate milk, but something's going on, so you know, we'll see. It's probably a lack of positions. That's probably what it is. We haven't taken a position in what, like 5-6 days. It could be the bulk. Charlie, mate, Charlie, you're going a bit far there. How are you doing, Charlie, my brother? How much water I consume today? Well, good question. I mean, that's what I'm focusing on as of now. So, I've got a 750ml glass bottle, and I'm probably 3/4 through it. And a green tea, so not much, but that's a good point actually. Let me down it. Yeah, welcome to the stream, guys. Those of you that have just joined, you know, make sure you got your trade sinker before you start putting things in the chat. Make sure you actually set up. Okay, don't set up last minute. I usually set up around 9 AM EST, and then we hop on the stream at 9:20. You know, I'm not sat at my desk. I only sit at my desk at 9:20. I go straight to the live stream, set that up, and I mark my levels at 9:20 as well. There's no rush. And then look, what we do is just we sit here for 5 more minutes, and then we do our bias. Get nice accurate bias. That's pretty much it. We can delete that point at sell side now. Still a bullish SMT on ES. ES takes the New York open high. What does that mean? So it means that we have a sweep of sell side, but most recent sweep is actually buy side, because ES took the New York open high, so NQ's the weaker asset, if that makes sense. You know, when I see people on Instagram talking about price action, how misled and how little understanding they actually even have on why price action's moving is absolutely unbelievable, to the fact they're even on social media. It's embarrassing. Hey Milo, took a trade during London session at 4:45, 5:15. I am wondering, was it valid as the 5-minute high had been taken, although it had a breaker block? Okay, you took it out. You said high, invalidate the trade. So I guess you took a long, and you're talking about this here. So price swept sell side. Okay, let's say you had a bullish bias. What is that? Okay, so price shifted market structure and already swept sell side. It depends on ES, to be honest. But this would be the invalidation high. So price shifted above this high. This high is perfectly fine, you know, because price can't shift above this high without shifting above this high. You wouldn't want it to take this one, and with the shift, it actually did take this one. Yeah, so I wouldn't actually take this position, as price did take a point of, that is a point of minor buy side. That's not price shifting market structure. So yes, that would be invalid. So I seen, you know, one or two people, one person say about London and Asia, for what they've seen in London and Asia, they can't expect much for the New York. Explain, why would that be the case? Because inside of Asia and London, we've seen this accumulation period. So we've not seen a extremely volatile London, right? We've also not seen extremely volatile Asia. So we're actually in to expect a volatile New York. And just even without bias right now, it's obvious that the draw is likely London highs and previous day high, just from the power of 3. So it is accumulated around this area, it's met the draw and swept previous day low, so manipulation, and it's likely through the New York to actually distribute towards London and previous day high, if that makes sense. So yes, we're actually in for an expected volatile New York session, not unvolatile. Oh dear, I don't know who they think they are, but HMRC's just sent me an email. But 2 in 1 day, they're really pushing the boat out. And matter of fact, I'm not even part of the UK anymore. I'm not a tax resident. Okay. How do I unsubscribe from this? Just going to look at Forex Factory, guys, and then we're going to get onto our bias in 15 seconds. Alright, so just 10 AM red folder news. That's pretty much it. So our cutoff point's 9:55. Let's do our bias. Okay, so daily time frame. Let's have a look. We have an unfilled daily, which is not even presented on ES. Bias is neutral on the daily. Okay. Price takes buy side. This is quite far out of range, so we're not even going to talk about that. Neutral daily, 4-hour time frame. Okay, if it helps, turn that on right there. So we had a bearish 4-hour, and what did price do? Well, it met the draw. You know, we was bearish, and it drawn towards previous day low. So that's happened. That was London and Asia concluded. Okay. So the 4 hours neutral. So we got double neutral there. On the hourly time frame, we inverse the hourly bullish gap, so the bias was bearish towards the next hourly low. That got met, previous day low. So it is neutral, and then we see, did we trade into anything which would make it bullish? And the answer to that question is absolutely not. So that's neutral as well. So we're only actually going to get a bias today off intraday. Okay, so price trades up into nothing, price trades down, and between, let's have a look to the left, so we've got 15-minute bullish gap, which got inverse, can't use that, nothing, can't take anything over there. Yeah, so we inverse the bullish gap, took the 15 low, it's neutral. Oh wow, we've got a really very much neutral bias today. Okay, so price trades up into the bearish gap. Whether we was in a bullish gap, we don't care, because it would have been bearish and then it got inversed, so we're bullish on the 5. And then we tapped the 5-minute high on ES. So we inversed. So the draw is these equal highs on ES on the 5. That's literally all we have as far as bias today. So we can mark this as 5-minute and on NQ as well. That's the 5-minute draw. Alright, cool. So basically we barely even have a bias at all. Got a neutral daily, got a neutral 4-hour, and a neutral hourly, and a neutral 15, and a 5-minute as bullish. Only until 5-minute relative equal highs. Alright, so our most recent sweep of liquidity is buy side, and we've got a, well, barely a bullish bias, you know. You could say this is a 100% bullish bias, but it's not strong. It is not a strong bias at all. We have barely any indication on where price is likely to draw. Okay, so we want to see price have a sweep of sell side, and if that pairs with our bias, then we will look for longs. Okay, Muneb said, yesterday I blew 5 50k accounts, full porting them to pass quick. The accounts are of $500. What would you recommend? To repurchase them and trade using proper risk management and model and pass them in 1 month. The target is 2.5 to pass. Evaluation phase. What prop firm is that? So what prop firm is that, Muneb? And also, guys, funding ticks. Do they have a consistency rule on eval? Did you check for consistency? 40% consistency on eval. Or funded. I was risking 450 to make 900 eval. You just said you full ported them to pass them quick, so I'm confused. It's got a 40% consistency, but you're full porting. How does that make sense? If you have a consistency rule on a set of evaluations, you can only trade them normally. You know the answer to your own question. So you have a 40% consistency on eval with funding ticks, which means that you trade it normally on the eval risk management and you pass it when you pass it. So just following the model. Simple as that. End of day trailing drawdown is always good. You know, my funded futures has that as well. Milo, I have bought 10 50k Apex accounts on Sunday. Yesterday I get them to 52.6, but I don't know about the activation fee. You said it'll be $6 until midnight. What is the price for now? Well, you know, midnight's already gone, so I assume that the activation fee, yeah, your activation fee is now going to be like $130, brother. I mean, it's already gone midnight. Someone said still only $6. Yeah, maybe they extended the sale. I know. Who knows? But if you're at 52.6, I mean, don't take another position with 10 contracts. You don't need 10 contracts. You'd need something like, let's say, I mean, 3 contracts would be okay. 3-4 contracts. You don't need much. Yeah, red folder news at 10, so 9:55 is obviously our cut-off point. As you guys know, we don't really have much of a bias. That's our cut-off point, and then this is the news. Yeah, so you're probably thinking, why do we have a cut-off point, and also, why do we not hold positions through red folder news? Well, because there's many prop firms that I work with, you know, and you'd lose your funded account and you won't get paid. So that would actually be a rule violation to a few prop firms, you know. I believe my funded futures, yeah, a couple of them, you can't just hold, actually take profit as well, I believe. Yeah, you just can't hold through red folder news, you know, they call it T1 news events. Yeah, I mean, guys, if you're worrying about the price of an eval, you seriously got to up your game. You know, you need to get a few funded accounts behind your belt and have those and be content with the capital you deserve as of now. You know, you don't, if you're starting off, you don't deserve $2 million in capital off the bat. You know, as much as everyone wants to get to the point where they have all the capital now, okay, you've got to be content for at least a month or two. Take 10, 15k in payouts, because if you're going from nothing, you can't have everything that someone's worked years to have, you know, within a couple of weeks. Unless you have the capital at the start. Hi bro, could you help with deciding on our invalidation levels when we get a model? Seems confusing myself with what points you use. Okay, that's fine. We had someone yesterday, I believe it was Sam the Reaper. I can't remember. Sam, are you there? So when you've been marking out, I said I'd tell you on the live stream, so I thought I'd call you out. There you are, Sam. So yeah, so basically the way that you labelled on the backtesting, I seen your message in the backtesting yesterday, you marked a mitigation block incorrectly. So I don't think you quite understand order blocks, mitigation and breaker blocks. So basically an order block is a up close candle, right? Like this one. This would be an order block. But it's only an order block because we have an up close and then it's engulfed. So the next candle is a down close but engulfs it. So closes below the previous up close body candle. This is a bearish order block, right? So same as gaps, fair value gaps, right? We assume it gets respected. So right now it's acting as a bearish confluence for price to draw lower. This is a bearish order block. After the creation of the bearish order block, okay, price trades and takes out a short-term low. So it takes out this one this one. I only have to take out one, right? So let's assume, right, well, obviously we're assuming it gets respected, but let's say price closed above the order block. Sam, what would that be? What would that be if it, not someone else? Yeah, so that's a breaker block. So because we took the low after the creation of the order block, if it closed above, it would then be a breaker block. And then we look for that to be paired with a gap. So it always starts as an order block, and then it will become a breaker or a mitigation block. It would only be a mitigation if we didn't take the low or the high before inversing the order block. So we create the order block, boom, we inverse it. That would be a mitigation in most cases. Look at this. That's a bearish order block. It got disrespected. Price closed above. And price took out a low. So that's a breaker block, which is paired with this gap. And price shifted. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Price shifted enough to take out the New York Open high. Hence why it is a sweep of buy side with a very light bullish bias. Okay, so we're looking for a sweep of sell side, if that makes sense. Answer to the full question is that a breaker block and a mitigation block, you don't even need to know the difference. You just need to know if it's one or the other, and if it's paired with a gap. So as long as you identify order blocks correctly, see down close engulfed by the up close, bullish order block, and it's going to be this candle here. You mark it from the wicks high to the wicks low, and then if that was to be inverse, you don't need to see did we take the high or did we not take the high. It doesn't matter if it's a mitigation or a breaker and that's paired with a gap. The rest of the model's there. Cool, you're taking the position. You should be thinking about your position size, not whether it's a breaker or a mitigation. Yeah, the picture that you sent inside of the chat, you marked out MB and you marked it from a line. So you didn't mark it as a rectangle, right? So you didn't mark out the order block correctly. And you marked it as a mitigation, when I believe it was, I can't quite remember if it was a valid order block, but it would have been an order block. It didn't get inversed or anything, so. I'm going to relook at the bias. So 5-minute bias is neutral, as you can see, because obviously price inversed the bearish gap, so we're bullish, and we're bullish to the next 5-minute high. ES already took out all these 5-minute highs, so it's neutral. On the 15-minute time frame, we traded into nothing, and below we traded into nothing, so it's neutral. Same goes for the hourly time frame as well. Nothing. 4-hour time frame, you already know. So it's a full neutral. That's very rare that we get something like this. But yeah, it's neutral, hence why price is doing nothing. It's accumulating. So we'd like to see some sort of bias. We're in a cutoff period, so news comes out in under 5 minutes. Going back to that, why do we have a cutoff point, is because a lot of prop firms, they have a cutoff point themselves, with you taking positions before news and being in a position, and prop firms vary from 1 to 2 minutes. So I believe Take Profit or My Funded, Alpha Futures, those prop firms, right, you can't be in a position 2 minutes or 1 minute before the news. Hence why I just went for the safe route, said 9:55. So I don't, be in a position from 9:55 to 10. And more times than not, 10 AM news comes out and it does nothing. But you just can't actually hold through it. You can't take positions. Isn't the 4-hour bearish? Okay, but the 4 hour was bearish until what, Chris? What was it bearish to? What are the two draws of what is always going to be on bias? It's going to be bearish until what, Chris? Tyler said full port long or short for news. To be honest, Tyler, I'm not your gambling financial advisor. I think you're going to have to make that decision yourself. Yeah, I'll be kind of surprised if you do get something off this news. Usually 10 a.m. doesn't really produce much. It would give some sort of like 15-20 point move, and then it wicks all the way back down, so it's slightly difficult. Hey Milo, considering previous years' monthly performance, how long would it take me in next year to get from 150k top step to 20k per trade realistically? Okay, so one funded 50k top step with an average of 2.5 to 3 winning trades per month. So let's say it's a 5R, right? And each R you're risking 300, right? So that is $1,500 profit per month on a 50k, and your minimum payout is 2.5, where you can take $500, right? So after a month and a half of you trading 150k top step, you'd essentially be up to your first payout of normal price action. So that is a month and a half, and you'd be taking $500. So it sounds like pretty much nothing, and then, because it is, yeah, it's nothing. And then after a month and a half after that, or a month, you would then be able to take, well, yeah, a month after that, you'd be able to take about 1.5k payout. So it is very slow. At the starting stages, guys, if you've only got one account, you're really going to struggle with making any sort of snowball effect. You know, it's going to be rolling very, very slow. I mean, if you've got 5 accounts, then that's always what I recommend. If you don't have 5 50k funded accounts, it's going to be very slow, because you're going to spend a quarter of the year, like I'm explaining to Tarek now, that it will take him a quarter, so the whole of Q1 of 2026 he's going to spend on a 50k to then get around 1.5 as a total payout, which would only get him the other 4 accounts. Or no, it would get him 4 more top step accounts and say take profit. So yes, he's getting there slowly, but it's taking a lot of time. If he had 5 accounts, he would have everything in Q1. So Q1 he'd go from 5 50k top steps, and that first payout, let's say it's 750 across 5 accounts, right? So after a month and a half, he'd take 750, okay, times 5. So that's around 4k, right? So let's do 4,000. He's going to get take profit, alpha, my funded futures, and apex, a few apex full ports to add to the balance off the bat. There's the news. Yeah, we can delete this order block, we don't care. Yeah, so guys, if you're trading 150k account, don't expect yourself to be driving in a Rolls Royce or a Lambo. You're most likely going to be cycling, because it does take more capital than that to make more just have to take it slow at the start. It's always very, very slow at the start. This is why people go back to square one so much. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question, Tarek. Realistic approach. I had one account, was getting very impatient, but I've managed to get another 3 accounts and much more patient as making a lot more with 4 accounts. Well, absolutely, absolutely. Milo, if I'm up 1k on my 50k, do you recommend to withdraw 500 and buy more evals? No. So your minimum payout, yeah, so your minimum payout is 2.5 as a balance or 3k. So you either take at 2.5, you can take 500. If you've got 5 accounts, that's a 2.5k payout. That will go somewhere. A $500 payout, we all know, doesn't really go that far. So yes, once you get, because if you're up 1k, right, what does that mean? Your end of day drawdown trails to 49. So you've got 2k drawdown left, you're taking 500, you've got 1.5. Immediately after taking payout, you're going half size. So you're not in a good position. Right now we have a sweep of buy side. You know, we're not taking any positions or looking for longs. Tarek said, I need to drop out of uni. You shouldn't have even gone. You shouldn't have even gone. Waste of time. Free Hunter said, my mum wants to kick me out in April. Well, you see, when I was actually watching the 2022 mentorship and I was working in security shifts, right? So in the final moments before my second payout, the first payout was a shock because when I walked in the kitchen and I showed basically what I had produced, they couldn't believe their eyes and they didn't even believe I got paid. So the second payout, and I said, look, and I showed them a flight ticket and I said, I'm out of here, I'm out. Then that's when they actually believed it. So I'll tell you what, brother, if they tell you that you're going to get kicked out, because they told me, they said, we're going to have to charge you rent. Not much. They was going to charge like 250 or 300, something small, pounds a month, you know, so barely anything, but something, you know. And that's when I said I need to lock in, because I felt like I was getting old. So, you know, I just turned 18. I was like, time's ticking here. We're getting pretty old. We need to get hold of myself. And boom, that's when I locked in for that second payout, and that was it. Yeah, guys, don't do any of that university shit. You know, you must have absolutely lost the plot if you guys ever even consider that. I know you're not considering it, but just don't listen to your parents. It's going to get you nowhere. You're actually better off getting a very shit job for $2,000 or $3,000 a month, right? And then living by yourself in a studio apartment, okay, paying for like $700 a month and just locking in by yourself, than living with your parents, influencing you, stressing you. You know, that's my advice. And trust me, it won't take you long. You'll be out. You'll be out. You know, we got people who have been to uni in this Discord, and, you know, what I would say is that it doesn't take a genius to know that whatever country you're in, obviously the US has more opportunities, you're going to be making nothing, and you're still broke. Especially for, I mean, if you went to uni for a long time, guess what? It's also going to take you a long time to work up, because you was in there for a long time to get qualifications to be a doctor or a vet, and you know you can't be making that much in the first 5 years because you're inexperienced, right? Imagine 5 years. You know, I've not even been trading ICT for 5 years. Look where I'm at. Unbelievable. Yeah, Mo, brother, that's also unbelievable. I failed English, and I never actually passed English. Never passed it. I got 3, and then I got a 2, and I got a 3. I remember the exam. The exam was describe a dark tree in the woods. And I basically wrote on the paper, I said it's pretty cold outside. It's a pretty dark tree. Don't know if I'd walk down there. That was it. What else do you want me to say? I've seen other people, they're writing for hours about a dark tree. They said it's dark, probably wouldn't go down there, probably quite cold, not livable environment. That's it. I'm going to redo our bias here because we went past 10 AM. So price trades up on the 5. And it wouldn't have met a 5-minute bearish draw. So you can see we traded it into a bearish 5. Okay, so we got a bearish 5. That's fine. Nothing on the hourly. We almost traded into that bearish gap in the hourly, but not quite. 4 hours, same. Yeah. So we got a weak bearish bias. Delete that. Minor buy side. So guys, my question to you, what is the results? I know some of you guys are in multiple discords. I don't know why. I think a lot of you are probably cancelling the other discords. But anyways, what is the results of other people? How have they performed in December? I don't usually ask this question. I usually don't even give a flying fuck, which I don't. But I'll ask the question anyway. How's everyone else doing in this December? I mean, we're currently up 1.4R, which is relatively slow. Last December, we performed with a good result as well. Delete London. So there's just relative equal highs. Losing months for many, especially I for value gap ones. See, Lord Farg, you see, he's a real one though. He doesn't look at anyone. Monty said, I rage quit my high school. They kicked me out of all of my advanced classes, but still made me do the test. So for all written exams I drew and complained. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty useless to be honest. So we've got relative equal lows and relative equal highs. Very interesting. Two very clean draws. minute. Let's take a look. Oh, 54 minutes. So you can see we're likely not going to get anything inside of this macro. John C said HMRC spamming me today as well. Yeah, they've sent me 2 free emails, and I've not been, or even spent, in the last year, I've not spent longer than, let's say, 20 days in the UK. I've not spent longer than 20 days in the last year in the UK, and I'm actually worried to even go back. I don't even want to go back. I don't think I am going back ever again. I don't want to do it. I can't do it. I'm worried with this digital ID stuff. I'm actually worried for my UK passport. I'm looking at getting another passport because I don't even trust the UK passport anymore. Thoughts about Marbella? I like Marbella. I think it's nice. Yeah, it's nice restaurants, nice villas. It's definitely the place to go during summer. There's a lot of English down in Marbella, but Marbella is really nice. There's also dangerous parts of Marbella. There's a lot of drugs that come through from Morocco, but you'll be alright because you'll be in the good areas. I've never been to Ibiza in my life, and I will never go. It's not really a fan of that environment, to be honest. I don't like English people on the most part, to be honest. I like to stay as far away from them as possible. Get a Swiss passport? I don't think that's an easy task. It's like saying one of the hardest and strongest passports to get in the world is Singaporean passport. I believe that is the strongest at the moment. Pretty much impossible to get it. Yeah, so Mike, we always look at the E-mini contract, not the micro, for bias and also execution. So right now we're outside of the first day of macro, so we're waiting for the second. So nothing inside the first, you can see. Price has pretty much just accumulated. It's taken out the New York Open high. You know, we've not seen much. No one's made any money. So we're going to be waiting for this second AM. Yeah, guys, so I want you and everyone on the stream to head on to the PvP with the bomb emoji, so the PvP channel. And on the PvP channel, if you scroll up, let me even, matter of fact, copy the message and repost it. So if you head on to the PvP and this leaderboard channel, if you click that, and if your name is not on that list, so if you look on that list and your name is not there, and you can't find your name, then what you need to do is add your name at the bottom. So go to the bottom around 308, write your name, prop firms used, funded size, so how much funding you actually have, eval size, we don't care about eval size, so don't even bother filling that out, just do funded size. Monthly P&L, don't even do monthly P&L, we don't even need monthly P&L. Matter of fact, I'll see if I can delete that. Drawdown, we can delete that. Eval size, no one cares. Funded size, so that's it. It's just what prop firm you're working with and then funded size. And just add your name onto that list, because we're going to do the leaderboard. It's going to get updated shortly. It's going to be updated on Friday. So I'll give you guys this week to fill that out. So you'll see where you're standing on the leaderboard. Make sure, if you haven't already, update your name. So, because you might get surpassed. Brian, your computer is bugging, brother. We have been having a great conversation. Let's get some bugging emojis on Brian. Does eval count in PvP? No, so only what you have funded. So where it says funded size, you're just going to write your funded size, so how much you actually have in funding. And on the Friday this week, you'll see where you're at on the leaderboard. Because last time we did the PvP on the leaderboard, we have a lot of people in the 50k mark, so what we're actually working towards is that everyone on that leaderboard currently is going to go to 1 million in capital at a minimum. C4, Caden at the top, he's actually already increased to around 1.7 million in capital. Everyone's on the increase. Everyone. Okay, I'll speak to you guys shortly for the 2nd AM. Alright, yes guys, how's everyone doing? Let me know if you can hear me. We're going to get into the 2nd AM macro. Alright, so let's start by looking at our bias. So we got a bearish 5. Nothing on the 15. Cool. So one of you said that you can hear me. Let me know if the rest of you can hear me. So as of now, we've got relative equal highs on ES. We've somewhat swept buy side, and that is still the most recent sweep, which is buy side. I still like minor buy side and relative equal on ES to be taken. And then we've got a very weak bearish bias. So we'll see what we get in this second AM macro. What do we want to see to be interested inside, well, in a position? So as of now, we've got a weak bearish bias. We have a sweep of buy side. So obviously we want to see a shift lower in market structure. That's what we'd be looking for. And for what we can see on ES is that price to shift would just take out this 5-minute low. So we still need price to take some sort of, say, these lower time frame equal highs on NQ, or even this high on ES, to retake buy stops and then shift. So that's what we'd like to see to be interested in a position. And the draw would be relative equal lows on ES and just sell side on NQ. Otherwise, if we don't take buy stops above this high and relative equal highs, then price action's likely not even going to pick up at all. Okay, so NQ just tapped this short-term high. So that would be a bearish SMT on ES if it actually took it, but we're not even going to bother checking as of now. Yeah, if you guys think this price action's slow, which it is, this is really as slow as price action gets. This is more or less what you can expect during June, July time. And the fastest points of the year, as you guys know, is March, April. That's when everything is very much up in the air. It's very volatile in March and April. It has been year after year. Yeah, that's correct. So the 1 hour is now bearish. No. So the 1 hour bearish gap already been inversed previously. So we can't take this as bearish. Can only take the hourly to be bearish at 7:09. Also at the same area, that's where the 4 hour is at as well. So the 15 is about to trade bearish, which would be at 682. So you can see we've got a bearish 15. And a bearish 5. A sweep of buy side, which is good to see. Bearish SMT on ES. So as of now, we just wait to see, do we get a shift in market structure or not? For ones in Europe, is it fine to trade the morning macro when there's FOMC? Or No. No, so we don't trade London and we don't trade the PM session. As an individual yourself, you can make that decision. I advise that you monitor the PM session instead of London, because London relatively doesn't move at all, so you'll find it quite boring and a waste of your time. So looking at the PM session will give you more benefit than looking at, say, London. So yes, you can add the PM session if you want to monitor and look for a model, then you can. It's not a problem. I just personally don't monitor the PM. I only monitor the first 3 AM macros and that's it. There's no need for me to monitor the PM. Is Alpha 0 good? Yeah, Alpha 0 is good. Yeah, no, it very much is good. It's perfectly fine. I would go with Alpha 0. Alpha 0 means that you have no activation fee when you pass the account. So you're basically paying $99, I believe, and you'll have no activation. The only issue with Alpha 0 is that there's actually no disadvantages. Your max daily loss limit is the only thing that changes. So you have a max daily loss limit of 1,000, but you should never exceed that in any scenario at all. It's impossible. So that shouldn't even affect you. You got a 2k drawdown, a max daily loss of 1k. So you're perfectly fine. Someone said Alpha 0 payout capped at 1k. Well, that's a serious problem. I didn't know that. I'm personally with the advanced plan. Advanced is going to get you way further. Okay, we're starting to see an aggressive move lower for price. ES has shifted market structure. Okay, so this on ES, this 5-minute low that we're looking at on ES is actually a bullish order block that's been or being disrespected. So it would act as a confluence. We have plenty of lows here for price. So to put a point on an invalidation low is that price should shift below the first low for price. This is not a point of minor sell side. A point of minor sell side would be a low like this, you can see, which is further out for price. So we have a bearish bias, a shift on NQ and a shift on ES. We're looking for a 35 handle stop. Alright, see if we get an entry here. Okay, so the only thing we're looking at as of now is how we would trail our position, which would be from this low to a point of trail stops. So essentially our stop is above all bearish PD rays. That would send this trade in favor. Bearish buy, sweep a buy side and a gap on both, and then paired with the gap is an inverse bullish order block as well. So essentially the only thing we look at as of now is how we would trail our stops. Sam said, you think chart algorithm is adjusting to how we trade. Sam, I think you're starting to lose it, brother. Not at all. Yeah, Sam, you're newer to the business. Obviously, you're just overthinking things. I don't know why you would even... We look at just executing the model correctly. That's it. There's no point thinking outside of the box. It's not going to get you anywhere. The only thing you have to think about when you execute a given position like we have here is that you assume the trade draws in favor. So you assume it draws in favor, and then how can you manage your risk? That's the only thing you think. So we execute as long as you got position size down correctly. So it's 5 micros, which you guys should have got on your 50k fundeds. 5 micros, right? And it basically means that the first low you trail your stops to the previous high, so on and so forth. And this trade is a -1R, so you should be out of this position. I'm out of this position on all accounts. So currently on the month, we are literally just above break even. Yeah, so basically we're going to be waiting towards the lunch macro. So even if another position presents in the second AM, we don't take 2 positions in the same macro. It never happens. So we wait for the lunch macro and we'll see if we get anything during lunch. So our current P&L on December is relatively break even. I believe I'm up around 8-ish or $10,000, so not much. So we'll wait for the lunch macro. Why weren't you bothered with ES taking the 1027 low? We discussed that when it took that low. We already discussed that. It's still marked on my chart as well. I mean, you can see. Yes, correct. So tomorrow we don't monitor price action. It's FOMC triple set, so we don't monitor on the Wednesday. In comparison to last year, so last November I had a losing month. This November I had a losing month. Coincidence. Last December I got paid out 150k. This December's ongoing. Because it shifted for an order block. Yes, so we had a bullish order block at that low, which actually worked as a confluence, and a bearish breaker with ES. We've spoke about this question quite a lot. How long will I trade through December? I'll keep you guys updated as we trade through December, of the days that we will trade and the days that we won't. We spoke about that quite a lot. If people ask questions after a position, after a loss or after a win, after anything really, you should ask that question before. So you need to ask yourself these questions before and get familiarized with the model from backtesting, what everyone else is doing. You shouldn't have these type of questions. Milo, I have a serious question. Okay. Police alarm emoji. Here we go. If we have a bearish SMT on the 1 minute time frame, okay, and a bullish SMT on the hourly time frame, and bias like we had now, what should we do for that? What do you mean, what should we do for that? So we had a 5 minute bearish, right? And we had a 15 minute as bearish, right? So even if, for example, the 5 traded to being neutral because ES took the 5 minute low, which I already knew, and the 15 was bearish, the bias was bearish. We had a sweep of buy side, a shift on both assets, a gap on both, an inverse bullish order block paired with the gap. Hopefully that makes sense. That's always the procedure. And if you guys look familiar with that, that's what we do. So as far as the SMTs, they're only, if you look at the checklist, the model, an SMT is only a small confluence to an already existing model. There's not even much bother in having an SMT. We had an SMT lower time frame on ES. Whether we had a higher time frame, on the daily time frame, I'm sure I can find some sort of SMT at a given point, so there's no point even looking at that because it's not going to affect price action. Hourly time frame, if you look at SMTs, there's not much reasoning that affects price. It will just tell you if one asset's stronger than the other or weaker than the other. That's it. So the answer to your question is that an SMT is not even part of the model. It's not even a confluence. Melvin, I'm going to answer your question with a hashtag. That is the full detailed answer to your question, Melvin. No, we're not looking for positions in this macro. So the rules is always that one winning trade in a given New York session stops you. One losing trade in a macro stops you, and you wait for the next macro. Two losing trades, which can only happen from first and second macro losing, means you don't monitor anything, so essentially lunch. So the max you can lose in a day with full size is 600. It's impossible to lose more. It's not even possible. And the max you can make is 600. Well, there's not essentially a maximum. I mean, I'd say the maximum's around 800-ish. Depends on your risk to reward, but Jack said, I went in with eval size instead of funded size like a dickhead. Yeah, that's your own human error there. I mean, as I said, guys, you're trading your accounts. You are the person who calculates. You don't just look at my chart as a point to monitor price. You have TradingView up yourself on your own monitor. And when I say a model's presenting, don't just be sat back, reclined with your feet up. You need to be monitoring price as well and marking out the same levels. And then because I'm going to tell you guys, I'd say once or twice, but I'm managing my own risk for my accounts. I need to work out what position size that I'm putting on for my accounts as well. So I can't always tell you guys what position size that you should be running. So it was a 35 handle stop, and on the funded plan that's very clearly 5 micros, which would be I believe a $350 loss. Yeah, 350. That's your only job. Your only task. Yeah, for a 300k account, you want to risk around 800. Yeah. 800's perfectly fine. Okay, I'll speak to you guys shortly for the lunch macro. So I'll unmute my mic at 11:35. Okay, so I've just updated the December results P&L, and just to confirm, the break-even trade that we took last week, towards the end of last week, it was on Thursday 4th, and it was a long in the lunch macro. Is that correct? Because I checked my executions on my live. I just want to see from other people's recordings. Was it a short? I couldn't work out if it was a short or a long, because it literally says on my P&L on the live $0 break even, because it was a break even. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Let me check the Instagram.
Order a fill.
Oh yeah, it was a short. Yeah, and then went break even. Short. And this was in the lunch macro, I believe. Okay, it was a short. Let me change that. I'll post the P&L inside of the channel after the lunch macro. If we take any positions during lunch, we will obviously add it. Okay, so last week's P&L was plus 1.36R, 43.9k, and then this week so the P&L actually has completely changed because I've actually added capital. This is why you always base your months off risk to reward, because as your capital increases, your P&L is not going to be accurate, representative of your performance. Your risk to reward will. Times 334.87. Okay. Okay, cool. So the P&L sheet's fully updated, and I'll post that in the Discord after we've monitored this lunch macro. Okay, so let's take a look at price action for this lunch macro here, right? We have a sweep of buy side, which is London highs. We have a shift in market structure on both assets with a bearish bias. And we've shifted market structure on both assets. The shift on ES is below this low, so that's our shift. Okay, we're waiting for the macro, which is in 2 minutes. We have a gap on both assets. And paired with the gap, we have a bullish order block that got inversed, which is paired with the gap. So that's obviously our shift in market structure. Okay, so this 5-minute low on NQ just got taken. So this is the invalidation low, 1107. So that's the low that shouldn't have been taken for price. 1131 is not an invalidation low. That's actually our shift in market structure. So on NQ we shifted below this low. On ES we shifted below 1131, which is the shift. But then this is the 5-minute low and the low that shouldn't have been taken after. So nothing as of yet. You see how much price has shifted structure? So this was the closure of the shift, which is fine. But then price continued to take out this point of sell side here. Yeah, Charlie, we already spoke about that, brother. Someone asked that same question. It just wasn't an invalidation low, previous trade. So, as you guys know, we're obviously not taking a short as of now. Rami said 5 minutes bullish. It doesn't affect our bias, brother. The 4 hours bearish, the 1 hour's bearish, the 15's bearish. Ren said, what's the strongest draw on liquidity right now? Well, to be honest, there's no point trying to identify that. There's just no model for us to take as of now. You know, you're not going to take shorts because price has already shifted enough to take points of sell side. So this is a very clear invalidation low. Price shifted on NQ, which is acceptable. Price shifted again on NQ, that's also acceptable because that's also the shift on ES. ES can only shift below this low. This is the first short-term low for ES to shift. The low after, which is this one at 1107, this wouldn't be a shift on ES, would it? This wouldn't be a shift on NQ. Hence why this low is a point that shouldn't have been taken. So yes, our bias is bearish. We are still looking for shorts, but we can't take this opportunity for a short. Milo, do you hold XRP long term? All of the crypto positions that we take are posted inside of the crypto channel. I don't know what people's obsession about holding XRP is. It's pretty much pointless. The only coins that you should focus on is Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's it. So yeah, all crypto positions that we have taken, it's in the crypto channel. You can literally see our active position. So there you have it. ICT traders who took a short there would have been stopped. Pretty simple stuff. Price is repriced back to buy side and taken buy side, so we're going to look for a shift lower market structure from this point following our bearish bias. So we now have another sweep of buy stops. Price shifted, invalidation low got taken, repriced back to buy side, taking buy stops, and now we're going to look for a shift below this previous low. If price continues higher, then obviously it continues higher, but we would look for a shift below this low, which would be fine. That's a bullish order block on ES, and that's the one that would look to be paired with the gap, and this is invalidation low. So currently we're still in a bullish state of price action. That's hence why we look for the shift in market structure, because we're still respecting bullish PD rays like this bullish order block, etc. So yes, we got bearish bias, a sweep of buy side, and we're just currently on step 3 looking for a shift lower in market structure. Anyone else drink C4s? Personally, I don't drink any energy drinks. I don't drink Red Bulls, and I also don't drink C4s. You know, I used to be a very big consumer of Red Bulls. As you guys know, I used to drink around 3 a day. But around, well, it's been a while actually. Around 3.5 months or 4 months ago, I completely stopped drinking Red Bulls, C4s, and I have way more energy now. Those drinks are extremely bad for you. They have many chemicals inside of them. You shouldn't need, if you're tired, you shouldn't need energy from an energy drink. And it will give you a heart attack. Okay, so let's see if we do get a shift. Yeah, so I do drink coffee sometimes. You know, I'd have a black Americano. That's pretty much it. No, not exactly, Mr. Trader. The chemicals inside of Red Bull and C4s, they overstimulate the body. Your heart goes into um, a lot of stress, and the chemicals are related to a lot of cancers, diseases, and heart attacks, and block your arteries, etc. Okay, so ES has obviously shifted. It's not formed a gap yet, so if we do form a gap, it will be paired with the order block. So if ES closes below, that would be a breaker. If we form a gap here, that would be perfect, because then we have the paired with a gap. NQ shifting below this low, so we just need to see a gap on NQ, and then a gap on ES. So it's still acting as a bullish confluence, being respected. Yeah, when I stopped drinking Red Bulls and C4s, I used to speak quite a lot about them. I used to have a lot as well. I used to have one before trading. It makes you very agitated. You don't really think with a clear mind. You think with a very, not impulsive, but erratic mind. They're also not good for your gym sessions either, because your body will start to rely on it for a gym session as well. Yeah, it's a very bad product, to be honest. You're best is sticking with an English tea, or just have a black Americano coffee. Yeah, that chemical that Jack said, aspartame. This chemical's found in Coca-Cola, Fanta. I don't drink any of these shit drinks. I don't drink this Coca-Cola stuff, Fanta. I don't drink fizzy drinks. I have a lot of chocolate milk, don't get me wrong. But as far as energy drinks, I stay far away from it. Yeah, if you want something before the gym, you're better off just going to the supermarket and buying a full watermelon, cutting it in half and eating half of the watermelon, actual pure watermelon. That'll give you all the L-citrulline you need, and you also need a plate of potatoes an hour before. You'll have a good workout. But don't be drinking no energy drinks before trading. Mr. Trader, how old are you? How old are you? Yeah, so you're 19 years old. I'm assuming you're a male, and you're saying that you're tired all of the time. Whether you're tired or not, you shouldn't be having energy drinks, brother. It's not needed at 19. You shouldn't even need it when you're 40. I would say your diet's probably quite shit. So we've put in another short-term low. We failed to shift, reprice back towards the high. We just took previous day high on NQ. Mr. Trader was on a cut for 6 months. How fat were you, brother? I mean, a 6-month cut. How fat exactly were you? You must have been obese. Holy shit. Went from £205 to around 138 now. So for the first time, £138. Brother, I'm surprised you're not dead. Holy shit. I mean, at £205, brother, you should be bulking, even past 205. You need to get to about 225. You've gone the wrong way. At 5'8", you can be 205 and be in a very good position. A lot of people at 5'8", you know, they're 205 pounds, and that is the perfect body weight, I'd say, for 5'8", is about 205 pounds. Now you're 130. Holy shit. I'm actually surprised you're not dead, brother, to be honest. I think about 90% of women that I've been with have weighed more than 130 pounds, brother. I mean, put this into perspective. In the last week and a half, I've put on 4 kg. So I weighed myself today, and I'm 85.4 kg to pounds. Let's have a look. So I'm 188 pounds as of now. So for me, that's still very light. Still very light. Not happy with it at all, but we're working step by step. Mr. Trader's 60 kg. $205 at 5'8" is way too bulky. No, well, I mean, it depends on your muscle formation, if you know what I mean. I know many people at 5'8", they're like 220 pounds. They're just built like a tank. Yeah, my goal is to get to 225 pounds. So my goal is to get to 100 kg. That's the goal. We're currently at 85. I was stuck at 80 for almost a year and a half. So I've just got up to 85.4 kg. I mean, I'm currently on a bulk. I've been on a bulk for about 2-3 weeks now. About 4,500 calories a day, and I'm still sub 10% body fat. Sam thought he could put a message in the chat and then delete it. Would the trade now be valid? Sam, what are you talking about, brother? If there was a valid position, I'll tell you guys. No, I would just say the reason that I don't put on weight is just because of my height, you know. That's all it is. Height and strange genetics of just not putting on weight. Okay, I mean, if this candle causes the shift and the next candle closes for the gap at 12.14, we could see an entry. So price swept buy side, just shifted on NQ and ES. Bearish SMT on ES. Okay, so there's nothing as of now for us to take, because there's no inverse order block paired with this gap. We got no breaker or mitigation block paired with a gap, so nothing to take. Okay, so that puts us at the end of the lunch macro here, guys, and I'm going to update the P&L sheet for December, so I'm going to put that in on the P&L chat inside of the Discord. I'll speak to you guys shortly, which will be on Thursday, because we're not taking any positions or monitoring price on Wednesday, only on Thursday. So I'll speak to you guys shortly.